So, analyzing the problems, since there are three, I will have three slides on this, but this slide is specifically talking about the financial hurdles that telecommunication companies face when trying to deploy broadband internet. So, when attempting to roll out broadband in rural areas, telecom companies must overcome major cost obstacles. So, the expense of constructing and maintaining broadband infrastructure in sparsely inhabited areas can be extremely expensive, and it is challenging for these providers to return their investment due to the high cost of building fiber optic lines and other equipment required for broadband service. But also, I know there's a really big push right now by the Biden administration to use American made products. Unfortunately, well, it sounds great in theory, but unfortunately, the production is much slower and a lot more expensive. So there is that lower ROI that I referred to earlier. And we have to remember that these are companies and businesses after all. Since there's not much infrastructure in these rural areas, telecom providers could have to start from scratch, and that's going to be extremely expensive. And they can't simply just modernize or extend the equipment that already exists because nothing exists there. So it is cheaper for telecommunication companies to go into an urban area where there's already existing infrastructure and just update and modify, but that's not the case in a rural area. So, another important financial barrier that I'm going to touch a lot more on in the next slide is the cost of getting permits and other regulatory criteria, especially for small telecommunication companies with lower funding. And unfortunately, that means that this is going to reduce competitiveness in the market, which we know will unfortunately push out a lot of the smaller telecommunication companies because they just can't keep up with Verizon or the other telecommunication companies right now.